Professional Bowlers Association Summer Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. By Columbia 300. And by new Destroy Roach Killing Stations from Decon. Destroy kills roaches fast. Welcome to Rose Bowl Lanes in Windsor, Ontario, Canada for the championship round finals of the $130,000 Molson Golden Bowling Challenge. And now let's meet tonight's 5 finalists, starting from the bottom of the step ladder. It's Dave Ferraro out of Kingston, New York. His opponent in the opening match is making his second straight appearance in the championship round, 23-year-old Joe Firpo. The winner of that opening game will then take on 6-time PBA champion Brian Voss out of Tacoma, Washington. Bowling out of the runner-up position this week is 24-year-old Purvis Granger of Lafayette, Louisiana. And on top of the 160-man field after 42 games this week, it's one of the hottest players on the PBA Tour seeking his second title in 4 weeks, Sam Maccarone. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to Rose Bowl Lanes in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And for the 8th consecutive year, the PBA Tour has stationed itself here this week. Some outstanding scores, and working with me once again is 3-time Firestone Tournament of Champions champion Mike Durbin. And Mike, the professionals just flat whacked them here in Windsor.
Dan, it seemed like all I was looking at was strikes this week. The composite average on the television pair tonight is 223. Our 5 finalists, Brian Voss had the low average of the 5 with 226, and it was led by Sam Maccarone, who averaged 231 for 42 games. So they did knock down a lot of pins. There were 3 300 games also.
Well, we have 4 players on the telecast this evening that already have appeared in the championship round on ESPN this summer. So basically, Mike, we've got some players that have had hot hands.
Well, I think we have an outstanding cast tonight. We may have the best clutch bowler on the PBA Tour, starting in 5th position in Dave Ferraro. He's going against one of the hottest players, making his 2nd consecutive appearance here, Joe Firpo. And the winner of that may be going against the best player on the PBA Tour right now, Brian Voss. And then in the top seed, we've got Sam Maccarone, who won just 4 weeks ago. But the sleeper may be the guy who hasn't won, Purvis Granger, in that number 2 position.
Well, he's Sam Maccarone's partner, but let's get back to Sam at the top. He won 4 weeks ago, but tonight it's a horse of a different color.
Well, he's coming from that top position tonight, and we know that the top seed has only won once all summer long. So I don't know whether there's a jinx or whether they're just nervous or what it is. I think he's going to have a tough time tonight.
Well, the strikes will be flying here at Rose Bowl Lanes, and we'll be back with the opening game right after this final timeout between Dave Ferraro and Joe Firpo. So stay tuned.
Welcome the new school year with great buys from True Value hardware stores. Tote gear with a Rubbermaid quick crate container that folds for storage, just $9.99. And organized materials in the Hirsch Tour 3-shelf storage stacker, only $13.99 each. Enjoy an instant hot beverage with the West Bend 5-cup hot pot, just $8.88. And keep your outfits looking sharp with the Norelco Ultralight Steam and Dry Iron, only $16.88 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Leave it to the good hands, people.
Memories. Nothing evokes them like the house they grew up in. The first stairway he climbed, the first railing they peeked through, the first banister she floated down. All part of the reason the Allstate Home Replacement Cost Guarantee exists. To help rebuild your home, whatever the cost, right down to the spot where Dad hung his hat. The Allstate Home Replacement Cost Guarantee. Another reason.
You're in good hands with Allstate. Oh, baby, come on. Let me take you where the action is. Oh, baby, come on. Let me take you where the action is. Oh, baby, come on. Let me take you where the action is. Showtime's gonna take you where the action is.
Check out Showtime's exclusive action lineup of blockbusting hits and original shows. RoboCop, Stakeout, Beverly Hills Cop 2, The Untouchables, and more.
Showtime's gonna take you where the action is.
It's not on HBO. The action's on Showtime.
Due to uncontrollable circumstances like these, we now introduce the Extra Strength Antiperspirant for men, new Extra Strength Brute 33.
We are experiencing technical difficulties with the sound portion of this program. Please stand by while adjustments are made. We are experiencing technical difficulties with the sound portion of this program. Please stand by while adjustments are made.
At all possible, but he's a very consistent player, and he just makes good shots when he has to.
He seems to have the ability like Andy Marzic had years ago, that when he needs to throw that clutch shot, he throws it better.
Exactly, rather than maybe trying to do something a little differently or whatever, he rises to the occasion. Joe Firpo, one of the rising young stars on the PBA National Tour. The kid's got tremendous potential. Rifles another shot and has the first three. And of our 5 participants on the telecast this evening, he practiced less than anybody on the championship pair.
Yeah, he seemed to use a different strategy from last week. You know, last week he practiced and didn't do too well. This week he kind of just paced himself, and maybe it's paying off. Started with 3 in a row.
You mentioned the problems last week. You know, 193 to 163, he lost to Ricky Corona. So obviously he's back to make amends here this evening and shoot a big game.
Slid by a little bit, 258.
Looked like he got the ball maybe a little bit inside of his target area, and that one skidded before it rolled or did anything else.
Sent it a little bit right, and it never did make it back.
Firpo out of Lake Worth, Florida, as is Del Warren. Del here this evening, runner-up in the Hammer Open 3 weeks ago.
They're doubles partners. Tough spare here. Has to hurry. Doesn't make it, leaves that 8-pin.
So a mistake for Firpo in the 4th, and rather than leading after missing the 258, he now trails this by 4. We'll be right back after this.
Thanks to Lita, I got the right training, and now I have the job I want.
Lita showed me how to put my strengths and interests to work in a job that really means something to me.
You can't beat it. Lita's job training programs and career services are first rate, and they're free.
I'm well on my way to independence and a secure future for myself and my family. Thanks, Lita.
Stop by the Lita office at 128 East Grant Street, Lancaster, or call 291-1231 for information on how you can get into training for today's jobs.
Hey, you want to go to the beach this weekend or shop for a new car? I know the beach is fun, but right now your Buick dealer has up to $1,050 in special savings on 88 Regals. Buick Regal is affordably sticker price, and now that you can save up to $1,050 on a specially equipped Regal, it's worth giving up the beach for. But if you want to waste your weekend surrounded by half-naked men and women, we're open during the week, too. Buick, the right car, the right price, right now.
Finalists by a round. Boy, look all the way down to Dave Ferraro, starting in 60th place.
And look how steady Firpo was, and also Macaron. Boy, once Macaron took over first, he said, fellas, I'm not letting you catch me.
Brian Voss, after being 19th in the second round, jumped into the top 10 and never relinquished that position. Ferraro now in the fourth. That is going to be a little high in the 6-7 stands, and that's a problem for Dave Ferraro.
And interesting, right after his opponent opened, he gets it right back. That's very unlike Dave Ferraro. He switches balls. See the style of Dave Ferraro. No slide, plants, left. Hit about the 13th board, way left of what he's aiming at. He's going for this. Ooh, it's a little bit too full. Right idea.
So instead of leading by 4, now he trails by 9. And this point in time, we're early on in the opening match of the $130,000 Molson Golden Bowling Challenge, and still yet to come, Brian Voss, Purvis Granger, and also the top seed Sam Maccarone. So both players now with an open in the fourth, and this one's much closer than we would have thought.
Back on track.
Excellent shot by Ferraro on the left-hand lane. The audio problems have been cleared up, so the players now left to the concentration here on the championship pair. Boy, if it isn't one thing, it's another, right?
That's life. Oh, I love the way he throws that bowling ball.
He's one of those players, every time it comes off his fingertips, it looks like it's going to be a strike.
It just seems to be rolling instantly. As soon as it leaves his hand, all those revolutions. Look at how pretty and smooth it is. See how square he is at the foul line, too. Boy, he's just got a solid game.
Almost has that Mark Williams type roll when it comes off his hand.
Very similar, you're right. 23 years old. Bing, bing. One errant shot there in the fourth frame. Otherwise, he's perfect.
Well, I think the one thing that you can look at as well is the fact that Joe is a younger player, and he's going to be a little nervous on national television, but he made a bad shot and came right back, bang, bang.
And put it behind you.
Right. Which is what you have to do out here now. Ferraro needs to double to cut the lead back to 9.
Oh, his best shot leaves a solid 10. There were a lot of those this week. They held the scores down a little bit.
All right, now he circled that ball a little more, gave it a little more room. Does the ball enter behind the head pin? Is that why you leave the solid 10?
Dad, if I knew that, I'd still be out there knocking them down.
Yeah, but the only problem is you never circled it around the head pin, did you?
No, you're right. I never did.
No, I don't know. There's so many ways to look at that. I guess if whoever does solve, the problem of the solid 10, I mean, the guy's got to be a millionaire.
Right, if he can win every tournament.
Let's go to work on that. What do you think?
Yeah, right.
I'll let you leave him and I'll watch him.
Well, I had some advice on that by John Jowdy. He was telling me that you leave that solid 10, you move back on the approach for about 2 inches.
Right.
And ball finishes perfectly dead flush and strike.
That's what I used to do, but the only problem was about the third game, I was back in the third row of the stands, and of course, no, just kidding. Ferraro in the 7th, trying to get back on track. It's a little light. The bucket thought about standing, but the 2-4-5 remains, and that's not exactly what he had hoped for.
And I think Dave Ferraro's mental approach coming into this championship round was that he had trouble all week long at the high end of the house. And we're bowling on lanes 39 and 40. Right of 31 and 2, he said, the ball just didn't react well, and he made all his pins up at the low end of the house, and I don't think he thought he had much of a chance here.
Well, David had the lowest average on the television pair among the finalists who eke out that 2.45. Averaged only 194 this week, and he's going to have to pick up the pace because now he trails by 22 to that man, Joe Firpo. Back with a conclusion right after this.
Nice beard. An electric razor doesn't shave that close. It's not your razor, man. It's your face.
Without electric shave, your beard just lays there. Electric shave stands up your beard so it shaves down close, lubricates for comfort.
Good tip.
Electric shave for a closer, smoother shave.
Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA.
We're having a party. This weekend, save 50% or more on bowling and enter our Bowling in the USA sweepstakes. Win award-winning Jeep Cherokees named 4x4 of the year again. Trips to the Showboat Hotel and Casino. Over 70,000 prizes.
Bowling, bowling, bowling in the USA. We're back bowling, bowling, bowling in the USA.
Rich stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Poly Shades by Minwax. Get a beautiful finish in half the time. A finish to be proud of. Poly Shades by Minwax.
Go. A sport for all seasons. And 12 months a year, ESPN brings you the best of a PGA Tour. Coverage from 3 of golf's Grand Slam events. The finest Lady Linksters and those swinging seniors. Join the world's greatest golfers for heart-stopping and heart-breaking thrills all year long for live coverage that's far better than par for the course. ESPN.
What a beautiful piece of artwork. That'll be presented to our winner this evening. And that was formed by Wolfgang Eberhardt, if you can believe that. He's a very famous glassblower here in Canada. And boy, that's a marvelous piece of art.
Yes, it is.
And not to mention, of course, the $20,000 on top.
I'm surprised the ball held that much. He was left of his target. That ball just with a super center all the way. It looked like Dick Weber's shot right there.
Smash 7, which is becoming a more frequent hit in the 80s.
Actually, you didn't see Firpo reacting too much, though, because even though it was a smash 7, I think he thinks that he was fortunate to get away with that.
Well, anytime you give it that Yankee Doodle and pull it a couple of boards and still hit the pocket, you got to feel pretty fortunate. Man, oh man, I don't know about the spare conversion. Awful far to the left there. He's playing the frozen rope on the spare shot.
Yeah, he shoots his spares on the left side of the lane from the left side lane. Not something I recommend, but it's down. It's a spare. Difference 21 pins right now with 3 frames to go.
This is Joe's 3rd championship round appearance of the year. Last year, of course, he won his lone title when he teamed up with Del Warren to capture the Showboat doubles. 10 finishes in the top 24, 16 cashes in 27 tournaments this year.
That's pretty good. If you remember that telecast, he made all kinds of splits on that left lane.
He leads by 21, trying to clamp down this opening game. And just as we say that, through the nose with his worst shot of the opening match, and that's going to provide some problems.
Nobody wants to win, then. I mean, it's just handed back and forth right here, and nobody's willing to take charge.
Well, that gentleman right there is an opportunist.
Well, we'll see in just a minute.
Of course, Ferraro working on the spare, not the strike in the 8th. It's amazing what happens. We watch these two gentlemen really strike at will during the practice. But boy, when the lights go on and the heat is turned up a little bit, it's amazing how many errant shots are made. Or actually, there might be good shots, but the lanes are changing. I don't know.
No, I don't think the lanes are changing. I think in that particular shot, it was a defensive shot instead of an aggressive one. See that aggressive shot. Now the most important shot of the week is coming up for Ferraro right now in the 9th frame. He can take the lead for almost the first time in the match right now. 2-4-5 the last time on this lane. Let's see what kind of an adjustment he makes, or if that was an errant shot and he just makes a better one right now. We talked about how tough he is in the clutch.
Well, Ferraro sets himself up for a possible 223 game, and boy, what a beautiful shot this was.
Look at the loft. Way out of that lane. About the 11th, 12th board. Flush. And the 10-pin just barely got clipped by the 6th. Firpo now faced with a tough task of turning the momentum around. He had it in the bag, and now he's got to play catch-up.
He trails by 3. If he strikes out, he could shoot 220. Going to take them one at a time, and this being the most important, excellent roll on the right-hand lane. Both of these players just within a couple shots get away from him.
It's interesting. Everyone in the top position, as we see the scoreboard there, the difference 3 pins, that had the opportunity chose to finish on the left lane because the right lane's a little bit tighter. Evidently, they feel they have a little more room on this left lane. Let's see if that strategy pays off for Firpo now. Down 3, can take the lead by 7 with a strike right now.
Whoever wins this match will have an interesting game number 2 because Brian Voss is seeded number 3 this week. Needs a little help, and he carries the wall shot shaker, so he'll breathe a sigh of relief and head to the 11th frame.
But the important thing was that he trusted that one all the way down. I mean, gave it room to come in and trust that that light hit was going to carry, and it did.
Joe trying to reach the next plateau. You know, he's cashing consistently, making the finals. Now he's making the telecast, and you got to win a few games and win a title.
No matter what he does, though, he can't shut Ferraro out. Gave that one a lot of room. Too much. 2-4-5.
So the best possible scenario now for Joe Firpo would be 207.
Interesting. He's got a turkey and 2 doubles in the game. He's going to wind up with 207. Looks like one of my games. I remember shooting a lot of scores like that.
7 strikes. Our head statistician Chuck Pierce laughing as well, and I think he's probably penciled in a few just like that. Uh-oh, well. 206 for Joe Firpo, and Joe may be trying something a little different, a very low-key approach here this evening. Did you do that too, Mike, when you made the telecast, try and change your attitude, going back and forth until you could finally win?
Well, I was fortunate. I was able to win my tournament the second time I made the telecast, so
didn't have to do too much of that.
For the win. That's why they call him Mr. Clutch. As John Jowdy looks up at me right now.
Dave Ferraro will advance into game number 2, and Ferraro and Voss have had a storied past.
Interesting, the last 7 times that Dave Ferraro's made the championship round, guess who's been there to bowl him? Or I'm on the telecast anyway.
Are you going to give me just one guess or more?
Just one guess.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say Brian Voss.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, now he's going to put on a little bit of a show and swish the 5 over. Sachets into the 7. And so Ferraro now in the 220s as he takes a look at the scoreboard, realizing that he will move on to the next game and his lovely wife Glory at home in Kingston, New York, with their brand new baby son John David, probably pleased with the opening game. But for Joe Firpo, once again, it's to the well and not much there, but as good a young player as he is, he's going to break through here shortly, and when he does, he's going to be a tough one to handle. So it's 223 to 206. Ferraro mopping his brow. He'll move on to the next game here at the Molson Golden Bowling Challenge. But don't forget, before that, let's figure out how to make that 4-5 split.
Do you know how to work a golf ball? How to slice around a tree or poke on a dog leg left? Hi, I'm Tom Watson. I recently wrote an article about that in Golf Digest. It's a magazine that completely covers the game. Shots, strategy, equipment, people. It's all in Golf Digest. You're looking for new clubs? A better ball? Golf Digest delivers. Top playing professionals Nicklaus, Kite, Langer, teachers like Toski and Flick take you shot for shot from the driver through the putter. If anything can take strokes off your handicap, it's Golf Digest. It also tells you about the personalities that make the game so great. Sound good? Now here's how you can get Golf Digest.
Call toll-free 800-622-3488 for a year of Golf Digest. Only $12.77. 46% off the newsstand price, and you'll receive as a bonus tips from the tour. Free. Call 800-622-3488 now.
Be a winner. Read Golf Digest.
All bowlers, Mike Durbin, averaging composite 208.46. The scores were high.
Yeah, well, what leaps out at you is the difference there between the lefties and righties. Righties had the edge this week by 10 pins a game. Took a bunch to cash, 211, and even more to make the top 24, 216. So the scores were good then.
Sam Maccarone on top, 824. Woo.
He had 21 in a row, I think, or 22 in a row. Most consider he has them all, doesn't he? I mean, he's right there in everything. All four of them, most categories. 40 games over 200 out of 42.
That is kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? And, of course, several other players having good weeks here in Canada as we take a look at 6 through 53. Boy, Randy Peterson missed by a single pin.
Just one pin. Jimmy Pitts up there. Kent Wagner again. Trying to keep up with his wife there.
That's not an easy task either. Rod Pasteur in the alternates position in the 25 slot there.
Our defending champion, Harry Sullins. Tom Kreitz still bowling well. Neil Eagle with a check there. Billy Young, a past champion here. First check for Rodolfo Monticelli.
Oh, wait a minute. Chuck Pierce is at the very end, but nevertheless a paycheck for our statistician.
He struck out in the 10th frame to get it, too.
Oh, the pressure was on. Well, many times, even the best players in the world leave the 4-5 split. And now Mike Durbin is going to explain how to convert that when you're unfortunately leaving it.
Over the course of the last two tournaments, I've seen the pros, especially the right-handers, leave a lot of pocket splits. Last week, they left several 5-7s and 8-10s, and even a few 5-10s. This week, the 5-7 has popped up again, and there have been a few 4-5s. And the 4-5 is what I want to concentrate on tonight. Of course, the left-handed equivalent is the 5-6. It's a split left by both low and high average bowlers alike. Perhaps you've left it and wondered what's the best way to convert that split. Well, I'd like to try and give you two different ways to shoot it tonight. First is the way I see many pros on the PBA Tour shoot it. They like to move to the left side of the approach if they're right-handed, way over here, probably about the 35th board, and they aim for the 5th arrow. That's the first arrow to the left of the middle arrow. And they try and throw the ball straight down the left side of the lane and fit it right between the 4-5. Personally, I never used this method when I was bowling on the PBA Tour. I always preferred to shoot that split off of my strike line. And there's really a very simple move that will work for both right and left-handed bowlers alike. And that move is, wherever I stood for a strike, I move 5 boards to the right of that place where I stood and use my strike target to make the split. And of course, if I'm left-handed, I would move 5 boards to the left. For example, in this particular bowling center, I'm standing on the 16th board and aiming for the 7th board on the lane in order to get a strike. Now I leave the 4-5. So I move over here to the right to board 11, and I'm going to aim for that same 7th board in order to try and make this split. Now, the only time that this move doesn't work is if you happen to be bowling in a bowling center that has a lot more oil in the middle of the lane than it does on the outside. Then you may need to add 1 or even 2 boards to that move to make it work. But let's see how it works here. I get myself set up over here, ready to go. Look at that 7th board and see if we can make it. And there you have it. See, the 4-5 is really not that difficult to make. All you have to remember is move 5 boards to the right and use that strike target. We'll see you again next week.
The last time Dave Ferraro and Brian Voss met, Voss beat him 278 to 244, so we may be in store for some fireworks. Come on back and join us.
Do you know how fast you were going? Did you know this license has expired?
At times like this, now you can choose this. New maximum strength Pepto-Bismol. Now there's twice the medicine, twice the Pepto.
You know what really burns me up? My feet. Athlete's foot kept flaring up. I get rid of it for a while, but it just flare up again. Finally went to the doctor. He told me to get Tinactin. It's what doctors and pharmacists recommend most. In fact, it even cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly like they tell you. It'll keep the fly from coming back.
Fast-actin Tenactin puts athlete's foot out for good.
Now this one should be interesting, Mike Durbin. Dave Ferraro and Brian Voss, a pair of players that don't ever seem to miss the pocket, and both are pretty good when the heat is on.
Well, they're just two of the outstanding players on the tour today. It's a pleasure to watch both of them. They're both quality people, too.
7th championship round appearance thus far this year for Brian Voss, and he is now tied with Walter Ray Williams Jr. for that distinction.
He's also made the top 24 15 times.
Leaves a little half 10 that time. Told me he threw a couple of different types of equipment in the practice session, decided to go with a little harder surface ball and play a little straighter rather than go with the soft.
Watch Brian as he pushes the ball away. He pushes that ball out and locks that arm in, and it's just swinging free from the shoulder from the first step. It's just he does everything right. Goes 100 miles an hour at the spare.
That seems to be a popular approach on the tour. Is it more out of frustration, or is it really easier to make it that way?
Oh, I think it's easier to make it. The guys on tour have learned so much about spare shooting, changing equipment, throwing harder stuff at the spares, and they're better spare shooters now than the guys before, I think.
Don't you exert more energy doing that, though?
Probably.
Ferraro with his opening shot here in game number 2. That's a little soft through the nose. Dave winces and turns around and realizes, boy, would I like to have that one back.
Well, if he's going to leave it, it's better there than if it had been in the 10th frame of the last game. I think he's just a little soft here. The difference is the adrenaline flowing at the end of that game as to, he just stroked this shot and it went right through the nose.
It's funny you mention that, Mike, because I had a long discussion with Earl Anthony one night, and I talked to him about what went through his mind when he was really making key shots and he was really pumped up. He said, Denny, I would always move my feet or my target a little bit because I knew I was so juiced up that I was going to hit the ball better than I wanted to. But it's so hard mentally to talk yourself into those types of moves when you've been hitting the pocket from the old spot.
It was never my style. If I were hitting the pocket, I didn't move.
Yeah, but see, that's why he won 41 titles.
It could be.
Right. A little more speed on this shot, but unfortunately the result resembles the shot on the right-hand line, only this time he does not leave the split.
He gets 7 again, but no split. Both shots through the heart of the pins.
Boy, that's an awesome statistic, almost averaging 230 in the championship round. Going to win a lot of games doing that. Of course, already he's 1-0 this evening with a 223-206 victory over Joe Firpo. Brian Voss with earnings of better than $154,000 thus far this year, and we've got to make him our #1 candidate right now for Player of the Year, wouldn't you think?
Well, if he finishes second or better tonight, he takes the money lead.
Almost a
and to answer
carbon copy.
Your question more specifically, he's been my pick all along, Dennis.
I know he has. Still a long way to go, though.
That's the truth.
That whole fall tour coming up. That was last year. Quite a month, huh? Should say that was this year in 1988.
Yeah, he won the Trust Corps PBA National in Toledo, right. And then just a couple weeks after that, he won the True Value in Peoria,
where he defeated Dave Ferraro.
Right, pretty big tournaments with a lot of money. Get your arm swing a little bit looser. It's interesting, the strategies here. Brian has opted to go with a harder ball and go more direct. Well, Dave Ferraro is using a very dull ball and trying to circle a little bit.
A myriad of ways to get to the pocket. The whole key is the striking percentage when you do get there.
He left one of those in practice. And
Brian leans back, and there you see exhaling a little bit, and he's walking back thinking, what in the world do I have to do to end up with a strike? Watch the 4-pin probably, huh?
Watch the 2. It's third from the left. See, it went to that wall so fast and shot back across and just missed the 7.
Little limbo lean that time. Didn't help much, though.
Not much. Not much you can do after it's gone off your hand.
No, go back, pick it up, spare, and sit down. Wow, what a shot by Voss, who has 3 consecutive 9-pin spares. He leads by 9, though, which is the important number. Some impressive figures there as well for Dave Ferraro. 9 years a member of the PBA.
And that 4-5 was up there for a second, Deb, but he got the wall shot.
Well, I'm sure that during the break, David had a chance to watch the average builder, so he probably would have made it.
Right. Watch the hit pin. Ball deflects. There's your 4-5-7, and that's the wall shot. Delayed a little bit.
Ferraro trying for the opening double in this match. Had 8 strikes in game number 1.
Take the lead if he can double here.
Down at the line, he liked the shot, and rightfully so. X marked the spot in the 4th. So Ferraro bounces back after an open in the 1st and doubles up, and now leads by 1 here in game number 2 in Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
At Valley Pools, we believe that a pool is more than a place to cool off on a hot day. It's an addition to your home, another living space that the whole family can use and enjoy. We have any size or shape to meet your needs, or let us create a unique design to turn your yard into something special. And fall is the best time to install that pool you've always wanted. So give us a call today or visit our display parks at either of our 2 convenient locations. Valley Pools, it does cost less to own the best.
Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA. We're having a party. This weekend, celebrate with 25-cent bowling and enter our Bowling in the USA sweepstakes. Win award-winning Jeep Cherokees, named 4x4 of the year again. Trips to the Showboat Hotel and Casino. Over 70,000 prizes. Bowling, bowling, bowling in the USA.
Clearview Lanes, Route 230 between Mount Joy and Elizabethtown.
One wrong move, and it could be over. The hottest women bowlers test their accuracy as they try to stop Player of the Year Betty Morris on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. Mondays at midnight Eastern on ESPN.
Brian Voss hoping that history repeats itself here this evening. He trails by 1.
He's got to do better in the all-spare game. He's got to get some strikes in there.
Well, he gives himself a patch, but that's about it. Fitted that one nicely into the pocket after leaving the half-10 on the last trip and ends up with a 4-9. And Voss right now is shaking his head because he made a great shot on the left-hand lane, left a solid 7. And now he's got more problems.
4-9, he's got to move to the right. He'll throw hard and pretty straight. Try and hit that 4-pin on the left and slide it into the 9. He's aiming at about 1/8 of an inch at 60 feet. Hit away too flush. Not close.
So now Brian Voss finds himself trailing by 14. Still plenty of room left to start striking, but there's no time like the present to get that started.
Well, you remember a few weeks ago in the championship match, David Ozio didn't strike hardly at all in the first 5 or 6 frames, and then he struck out with like 6 in a row at the end to win that match. Voss is over 4, hit the pocket every time, no strikes.
Brian Voss, 15-9 in match play this week, the best record of our television finalists. And he averaged 235.5 on this pair of lanes in doing so. But right now, he's struggling as throws it through the nose and leaves the 610 on lane 39. It's amazing. The last 3 times he has made the telecast, he has taken the week before that off to clear himself up mentally and physically. And this last week he took off to celebrate his 30th birthday. That's right, ladies. 3-0. But Brian told me that he's coming back bigger and better, and he's never felt better in his life than he does now.
At 30, huh?
Sure.
That's fine.
Hey, if I were on top of my game like he is in 30 and look like he does, I'd feel pretty good myself. Ferraro looking to make life miserable for Voss. Ends up tickling the 4, but doesn't get the job done.
We need something to get some excitement here, Dan. The crowd is kind of quiet. It's just kind of a blasé show right now. We need a little excitement here. 300 games spiced in here or something.
Well, they had 300 games this week. Spare up for Ferraro. Yeah, you're right. This one's kind of settled in a little bit. 13-pin advantage. Purvis Granger, qualified number 2. He'll be up next. And, of course, the top seed, Sam Maccarone, waiting to bowl one game for $20,000.
Send you down on the approach between breaks here. We do a little cheerleading and get this crowd, get them a little live here.
Sure. Brush up on my French a little bit. Maybe brush up a lot, actually. There's a little splice to rack on lane 39 for Ferraro. Yeah, one gets the feeling that they're waiting for something very special to happen. That's what's fun about watching the professionals, though. You're never really sure. Now watch Voss. Voss is going to get up here and throw this big double and get him cranked up.
Look at those earnings. PBA member, 6 years, $537,000.
I think he's got it down pat, don't you? Needs to start striking now, though, on lane 40. Once again, the 10-pin. I wonder now if maybe he'll go back to the softer ball.
I wonder, yeah. Obviously, that he gets it tight and it hits too hard. He gets it wide and it won't hit. There's the old soft 10. He's opted to go with the ball that goes straighter, so he knows that that's the penalty if he hits light.
Right now, he's just trying to stay close. He's down 14, so he's still within striking distance.
But as I said before, spares don't get it here. You got to get those X's.
You found that out by experience, didn't you?
Yes. What a frustrating experience. I mean, he's missed the pocket one time here, and he's got no strikes, one open. And that wasn't when he missed the pocket.
His career television stats, 17 wins, 18 losses, an average of 215.5. So hasn't exactly killed him on television. Lift that one and liked it. Oh my. If we get a chance to see the reaction from Mr. Voss on this strike, well, little word for the rack on the left-hand lane.
See the loft, little extra zip there. He says, perfect.
I think he was mentioning something to the 7-pin. I'm not absolutely positive, but I think it was something like, take that.
Introducing AmberVision, the most amazing breakthrough in vision technology since glasses were invented. These super glasses actually improve vision indoors, outdoors, day or night. We guarantee it. Look, AmberVision blocks the blurring blue rays, the same rays that cause haze and fog.
Everything is so much crisper and clearer.
I can't believe my own eyes. They're amazing.
AmberVision blocks 100% of the dangerous ultraviolet light with UV 400, the best protection for your eyes. You'll wear these high-fashion glasses all year round, and one size fits all.
Oh, I can't believe the difference.
Catalogs offer similar glasses for $59.95. But now you can order AmberVision for just $10 on this special offer. Seeing is believing, so order AmberVision today.
Clip-on model is also available. Credit card users call 1-800-445-4000. That's 1-800-445-4000. Or send just $10 plus $2.50 shipping to AmberVision Box 500-E, Verona, New Jersey, 07044.
Brian Voss struck on his last shot, but Ferraro now working for a possible double in the 7th, and before he gets to that stage, he's going to double re-rack, I think, on the right-hand lane.
Well, he just knows he can almost put Voss away here with a couple strikes. It's only a 14-pin match. He can turn around quickly. We saw that Firpo had that big a lead last game and made that errant shot and wound up losing. He's in that in-between stage on that lane. He's in so deep to keep the ball into the 1-3 pocket that it won't hit right now. It's light before, left the 4-pin, and now leaves that soft 10. If Voss can get a double, he can get right back in this match. switches balls at the 10 pin. He missed 3 of those, 2 of them against Brian Voss.
Dave was kidding before the telecast this evening. Last night in the position round, he struggled just a little bit, missed a couple of 4 pins, so he made sure that he shot a couple extra ones before the show started this evening.
I've never seen him miss as many spares
as accurate as he is. Very seldom does he ever miss a 1-pin spare. It's one of the reasons why he's one of the more talented players on the PBA Tour. Not only do you have to strike, but you better make those spares as well. In the 8th on the left-hand lane, he likes it, but the solid 10 stands.
Well, we'll see if Mr. Voss is going to be able to take advantage of these 2 10 pins that Ferraro has left. Right now, after these big averages, 228, 226 and everything, we're struggling at a 190 to 180 clip right here.
Kind of hard to believe that you can make the championship round with an 11 and 13 match play record, but I guess when you're knocking down that many pins.
I once saw Mark Roth lead a championship round winning 10 games.
No kidding. Where was that?
That was in Rochester.
Rochester, New York. Is that the year that he won 8 titles, 1978?
Well, you're asking too many questions now. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's that journalistic sense. Oh, well. Could you check on that for me next week?
Yes, I'll have it for you.
Well, Voss with the key shot of the week for him.
Big, big, big. 13 pins. He says, I can respond under pressure, too. As big as that one was, Oden, this one's even bigger because he can take the lead for the first time in the match with a strike here and set himself up for the 10th frame that no matter what Ferraro does, he can't shut out Brian Voss.
That's right. He strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, 224, and that's enough to advance to the semifinal game.
Yeah, this kind of reminds you of that match that Del Warren and David Ozio had just a few weeks ago. Started off slow, but finished with a flurry.
Voss taking a little extra time, setting himself mentally, realizing that you only get one chance to make a strike here.
A lot of speed. Oh! I think he's into it, then.
Boy, that was the frozen rope all the way. That ball never could ever leave the pocket.
Look at the loft again. Right around the 10th, 11th forward. Boy, how low he was at the line. Just solid as a rock. You could throw your shoulder out spinning around like that.
Yeah, I'd like to be standing next to him when that happens. Boy, Chuck Pisano and Harry Golden better be careful down there this evening. Mike Tyson right hand. Ferraro comes right back and says, well, all right, I understand where I'm at in this match, but I've thrown a few clutch strikes of my own.
These guys have had great matches, I'll tell you, over the years. They had a match in Cleveland, I think it was just 2 years ago, in which Voss struck out in the 10th frame to make Ferraro strike out, and Ferraro did it.
Now, you see the numbers graphically, 217, the best possible offering from Ferraro, but that would go a long way in putting the heat back on Voss should he strike out.
Making it 2. Come on, you heard him. He says, I can run him out, too.
Voss takes a look up at the board. A psych job from both players. Both players pretending as if it doesn't make any difference what the other guy does. I'm going to strike anyway.
Still got to get the crowd into it. They're still kind of sedate and laid back here. We need to get them excited.
I think I know why.
Because Gretzky got traded.
I don't think there's any question. There should be a national day of mourning. Wayne Gretzky is now with the L.A. Kings, and I'm telling you, it's a sad day here in Canada. Ferraro struck out against Firpo. This time a little bit wide on the left-hand lane. Leaves the 2-4-5. And for Brian Voss, he's seeing dollar signs right now.
Ferraro makes this. He finishes with 204 and forces Voss to strike to win. As if Voss would not strike, he would wind up in the 2-0s, but it would be 203 if he got 9 and spare and a strike. And he converts just enough to make him strike.
So after an open in the first, Ferraro finishes with 204. And for Brian Voss, who works on the 3-bagger, must have the strike. after an opening re-rack on lane 40.
Brian's very good at pacing himself in a situation like this, and he's not going to throw the shot until he's mentally and physically ready. Just watch the speed and see if he maintains that good, crisp, firm speed.
He did. Well, he's down on both knees, pounds the approach, and says, well, that's the toughest one I've had to throw in quite some time, but I've risen to the occasion. That's going to have him all pumped up.
This is it. I mean, this is high flush. Just gets that 4-7 out of there.
That's better than a straight flush. Yes, he says. Watch those hands now, Brian. These bowlers, sometimes they get carried away, you know.
Made sure he stayed behind the foul line.
More than enough for Brian Voss, who clinches the fist. And boy, Voss and Ferraro through the years have really provided some excellent matches, and this one's certainly no exception to that rule.
They're just two quality players. I mean, it's just a pleasure to sit and watch them bowl. It's entertainment.
Dave Ferraro, now over $83,000 in earnings after this week, and David coming back from that sore wrist. I'm sure we're going to see more of him this summer. So Brian Voss wins game number 2, 213 to 204. It was tough. But Purvis Granger is up next. Before we get to that, though, a very special, a heartwarming feature coming your way on ESPN.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hook on heavy oil. And the Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
Why chew gum with sugar? I get all the flavor I want with Carefree Sugarless Gum.
Get full flavor, get it all, feeling carefree. Carefree Sugarless Gum, the full flavor's carefree.
All the flavor, none of the sugar.
Feeling carefree. Feeling carefree. Oh, feeling carefree.
We're back in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and the player that hails from this area, actually near Detroit, is the subject of our feature here this evening. Peter Kaczmarzyk, a very special individual who's come a long, long way in a very short time in the bowling world.
Average 224.
Peter Kaczmarzyk entered the field of 160 bowlers here in Windsor. He could be considered the comeback story of the summer tour. Peter was diagnosed deaf at 18 months of age, but this past October, he underwent the cochlear implant, and his dream to compete on the PBA National Tour is now back on track.
His friend, he went to watch him bowl. He was interested in it. Then his father asked him if he wanted to go bowling. He was very interested. Then he seen the TV program, the professional bowlers on TV. He was interested how they traveled and bowled, and his dream was to go out and try.
Peter wanted to pursue his dream right out of high school, but opted for the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. He now works full-time at Cavity Craft in Troy, Michigan, designing plastic products for cap interiors. His world is much louder now since the surgery. The cochlear implant is a computer that has 22 channels sending electronic signals to the brain. He now hears his own footsteps, passing cars, and even the phone ringing. The implant allows him to speak as well as listen to phone conversations. It has changed his entire world.
Right now, with the cochlear implant, everything's a lot louder than the hearing aid. I can hear the telephone ringing. I can hear just about everything that I couldn't before. I was so surprised when I heard the birds singing. I've never heard that before. Said, oh my God. I was very surprised. I felt very happy. It's a lot better than my hearing aid.
Peter entered 25 tournaments in 1986 and 16 in 87. The highlight of this year, though, is when he heard the ball hit the pins for the very first time.
I couldn't believe it. It was a big difference. More louder. When I hit the pins, it was a lot louder. It made my mind open. I was so happy I couldn't believe it. I also cried because it was an emotional experience. Made me very excited and want to bowl more.
And coming up next, the top seed, Sam Maccarone, will chat with our Mike Durbin and perhaps confess what's on his mind about that title match.
It's easy to make the right connections for your home when you start at a True Value hardware store. For extra security, get this 300-watt quartz yard fixture for just $10.99. And this TrueGuard tabletop lamp and appliance timer for only $9.99. Then add some extra reach with this Master Electrician 60-foot extension cord for just $7.99. And their 20-foot retractable cord reel and trouble light for just $16.66 from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
My dad says you can't be a tough guy in underwear that shrinks a lot. So we wear Hanes. He says it's made with stuff that fits good, even when you wash it a lot. I mean, who needs wimpy underwear? Right, Dad?
You know what, Justin?
What?
You make a pretty good tough guy.
I know, Dad.
It's not just underwear, it's Hanes.
1, 2,
3,
4.
Health and fitness is that easy with ESPN's midday workout. 1. Denise Austin starts with workout and health tips. 2. Arda's basic exercises increase muscle strength and flexibility. 3. Jalad's aerobics are designed for cardiovascular fitness. 4. Corey Everson helps change and improve the shape of your body. Start your midday workout weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. It's that easy.
Mike Durbin here with Sam Maccarone, our tournament leader. And Sam, they say that success breeds confidence, or confidence breeds success. Your confidence level must be sky high right now.
Well, Mike, right now it is real high. I believe after that win, I proved to myself that I had the confidence that I could go out there and win. And it's really helped me this week because I know that I can win, and I went out there this week and I bowled well all week, and I found myself in the #1 position.
So you're talking about your win just 4 weeks ago in Riverside. Is that win responsible for your performance here this week?
Well, a lot of it has to do with a good friend of mine and fellow touring pro, Tom Laskow. The week I won in Riverside, he's been working with me on my mental game because he felt that was one of my biggest downfalls. And he's been working with me the last 4 weeks, and my mental game has been 100% better, and it's definitely improved my attitude towards my game, and it's built my confidence up extremely.
Last night, in the last 8 games, you lost 6 out of the first 7. Then we had our position round break, went in, had about a 15-minute break. Johnny Petraglia had a little chat with you then. What did he tell you?
Well, Johnny said that I was bowling well all week, and I was still in the #1 position. And he said that I had a 68-pin lead, and Purvis had to beat me by 39 pins. He said, so just go out there and beat Purvis by 40 and be aggressive, because he felt like I was a little tentative the first 7 games.
That little talk helped, huh?
Yeah, it definitely got me a little loose.
This is your first time from the #1 position. Are you nervous?
Probably a little bit, but believe it or not, I feel pretty confident right now. I just threw those 4 practice shots. The lanes seem to be the same as they were earlier, so I have a good feeling right now.
Do you have a specific game plan?
I just want to go out there and make good shots and focus in on my target and strike.
He says he wants to strike, Danny. We'll see if he will. Back to you.
Have to if he wants to beat the winner of this next. Brian Voss and Purvis Granger. We'll be right back.
What do you look for in a car? Quality, a comfortable ride, style, the right price? Then go look at a Buick. Buicks are affordable. The newly styled Regal is sticker priced over $1,000 less than a base Ford Thunderbird. But look for yourself. While showing you this Buick may save me 1,000 words, buying one may save you over $1,000. Buick, the right car, the right price, right now.
ESPN is your ticket to NFL Sunday night action when the best go head-to-head. As time runs out elsewhere, ESPN kicks off each Sunday night of the season with football's finest hour, NFL Primetime. The greatest plays from every game played that day. Then, Joe Theismann joins the team that won critical acclaim.
Catch it in August. The NFL on ESPN. Brought to you by these sponsors. The #1 fitness exercise in the world is cross-country skiing. And now it can be duplicated in your home with Easy Glider. Just 20 minutes every other day. An hour a week is all it takes to strengthen and firm all major muscle groups and lose weight aerobically. You can burn up to 360 calories per workout, plus tone chest, arms and back, calves, thighs, and buttocks. Notice the quality construction of the sturdy metal frame. This handsome unit folds down quickly for easy storage. Other ski simulators cost as much as $500, but Easy Glider is just $59.95, and your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. Grab the bargain. Call toll-free now.
To order your Easy Glider, call 1-800-862-3100. That's 1-800-862-3100. Use your credit card to avoid COD charges or send check or money order for $59.95 plus $9 shipping and handling to Easy Glider, Department 20, Canton, Ohio. But for faster service, call 1-800-862-3100.
Well, I think Gretzky just scored. No, he didn't. No, actually, it's the start of the semifinal game here at the Rose Bowl. Not in Pasadena, but in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, between Brian Voss and Purvis Granger. Now, Voss has to kind of get his nerves back in check and get the adrenaline somewhere in the middle, right, after the clutch strike.
Right.
Excellent match against Dave Ferraro.
Back where he started in the other match, week 10. Right.
Look at that smile on his face. He's saying, "Here we go again." Yeah, he starts half 10 the last trip, right? Mm-hmm. Then leaves the solid 7,
right?
4-9.
What a memory. That steel trap nine.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Had only 4 strikes in the first game, but shot .213, and it was good enough to win.
You got them all in a row. That's the...
And that's the key. And now your first good look at Pink Purvis Granger.
Never nervous, Pink.
Boy, I tell you, I love the slacks he's got on. Got the pink pinstripes going. Huh? We'll have to zero in on the pinstripes. You can barely see. Opening shot, though. That one's going to need some help, and he does. Kicks out the 10. And so for Purvis Granger out of Lafayette, Louisiana, fortunate in the opening frame.
Yes, he was. That was a little nervous shot right there.
Purvis with a match play record this week. 14 wins, 10 setbacks. His average on 39 and 40, our championship pair. .213, he was very consistent. He had a .214 game and a .212 game.
Bang, knocks off that 4-7.
And he averaged a neat .229.16 for 42 games this week.
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, on the same pair of lanes, maybe, but not across the house. Come on. Loves to play golf and tennis, MTV, baseball. Rather an interesting young player, this Purvis Granger. Love his attitude. He's out to have some fun and bowl well and enjoy life, and he does it. And he would have enjoyed the 5-pin falling, but it didn't on the left-hand lane. Purvis already chatting with himself. Sam Maccarone seems to be fairly confident, Mike Durbin.
Well, we'll find out if it's whistling through the graveyard or whether it really is true.
Yeah, when you put it to the test in that title match, there's nowhere to hide. $20,000 to our winner this week. Purvis Granger having his best year to date. He's already earned nearly $50,000 here in 1988. should he win this match, would have an opportunity to become the first three-time PBA champion here in 1988.
And I'm sure he's well aware of that. You say, what's going on here?
See, even the professionals leave those solid hits.
Well, all he has to do now is move back 2 inches and he'll carry those, right?
Next week, an interesting tournament in Cheektowaga, Thruway Lanes in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, with the senior touring pro doubles. Our defending champions, Rowdy Morrow and Mickey Spiezio.
Outstanding field heading east.
Classic style Brian Voss. Now watch, Dan, how he pushes the ball out. Look at the arm lock now. It's just dead locked now in that first step, right where it's supposed to be. It's in perfect time. Backswing. Right about shoulder height. Look at the slide. The head never moves. He does everything right, except strike. He's up the 10 pin.
Nothing much going wrong there, but that's why I think he's basically developed into the most consistent player on the National Tour. Gets that one a little right at target, but ends up with a wall shot. Gave it a little finger roll before it left.
Lifted that one very hard as it comes in light and carries the 4-5-7 out.
Almost looked like all he did that time was open his shoulders up a shade. He's awful square when he gets to the line, usually. There was the up and down. Purvis Granger's game this week. A little more projection on that shot, and he trips out the 4 as he shakes his head on the crossover.
Well, the right lane's a little bit tighter, and he's playing that a little more direct. But the tendency is to let it creep high.
He told me he preferred the left-hand lane over the right.
I'm sure he did. He feels like he can throw it aboard right on that left lane and get it back to the pocket. All even.
Purvis obviously still looking for his first career PBA championship and a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions in Akron, Ohio. Dances around a little bit. Oh, the 7-pin had a notion, but the rack was too fast.
Just gave it that room and it wouldn't come back up enough. Needs just a little bit more lift. Stay with the shot just a little bit longer. He has a tendency to set it down quickly. Right at that 7-pin.
Well, right now, this one's about as close as you could possibly write it. Even Steven now through 3.5 frames. We'll see if Brian Voss can double up and grab a bit of the lead when we return.
Time Magazine has put together a very special free gift for subscribing. It starts with something everyone needs. A telephone. With automatic redial, a ringer shut-off switch, and a mute button. But when you're on the phone, it makes sense to have a calendar handy. So we've added a permanent calendar. And when you need the date, you often need the time, too. So we've included a digital clock. And then for all those important messages, we've built in a memo pad, which means you'll need a place for your pen or pencil. So here's a pen and pencil holder. It all adds up to the Ultronic 4-in-1 phone center. And it's free with your paid subscription to Time. Call this number and enjoy 26 weeks of Time for more than 40% off the cover price. Payable in 3 monthly installments of just $9.89 each. Call 1-800-284-4500 now. It's the most remarkable offer Time has ever assembled, including this handsome 4-in-1 phone center. Free.
Next week on ESPN, it's something old and something new. Seniors and, of course, the touring players. That's a very, very entertaining event.
160-man field and trying for 80 seniors and 80 touring players. They all bowl 18 games qualifying, and the top 18 then match up. 1 with 1, 2 with 2, 3 with 3. That's how they develop their teams for the match play.
Dick Weber, Carmen Salvino, Harry Smith, the whole crew, they'll be ready.
Oh, they'll be ready.
Won't be long before you'll be there with them.
Bill Johnson's coming up to bowl that, too, from New Orleans. He's finally joined the senior crew.
Voss trying to double up here in the 4th and grab the lead.
I think Mr. Voss is ready.
Well, he's been lurking here all summer long and just hasn't quite hasn't quite gotten to the championship game and been able to win, but boy, he sure has been consistent.
Oh, he's just in the top 24 week after week. He finishes 7th, 8th. He's every week.
He's always in line, High, and he gets a big break.
Right. I mean, just put his hands down. It's just a rush shot. He just did not. Lost concentration. Just did not make a good shot. Fortunate to get 9 out of it.
We talked about his formula, especially this summer, in taking some time off and coming back and bowling exceptionally well the following week. Were you a proponent of that when you bowled on the tour, Mike?
In my latter years, I definitely was a proponent of that. When I first started off, I bowled 149 straight tournaments. That shows you how smart I was then.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good look at the broadcast position. Let's see. Focus in on Purvis Granger. Shot on the right-hand lane, and he carries the shaker hit. Look at never nervous Purvis. Huh?
He says that's how to rip that 5 out of there. Do it with a head pin.
We were kidding him in practice. He left the 4-5-7. And, well, he re-racked. He didn't bother to shoot the spare. But came back and told me, that ball came back with Band-Aids on it. Kind of got beat up by those pins.
It was this ball, too, that he's throwing right now.
Yeah, but that time they all went down.
For the lead.
No fooling around with that shot.
No light tickler there. He got it up flush.
1-pin match, and now the pressure back the other way.
Let's see how far he gets it over the line. About a foot that time. And the ball finish is right up there. Perfect. See Voss in the background not looking at all.
Nope. Voss getting ready to load up in the 6th. Trails by a stick.
High. Broke it down the 6th pin again. Boy, it's amazing when your opponent gets that double, how he can make that ball creep up a little bit higher on that head pin.
You see him working a little bit on his timing. I don't know how difficult it would be to stay sharp if you take a week off here and there, too. I don't know.
I don't think that's a problem.
Don't you?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess not when you bowl as many games as he does.
Oh.
Probably better for you. Voss currently ranks 2nd on the PBA money list with $154,285. If he wins this game, regardless of what he does in the title match, he'll become the leading money winner tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure he's aware of that, too. So it puts a little added pressure on him. He practices about 50 games a week then, so staying sharp is a week off just might make you sharper.
Mm-hmm. He is trim and in fighting shape, too.
There's that weak 10 again.
Well, a 6-pin laid there and tickled the 10, but couldn't nudge it over.
I know how strong he is. We had a little arm wrestling thing in Japan last fall, opposite hand, left-handed. And I beat a few guys, but I got to Brian, and I couldn't handle Brian.
Very strong for his size. Well, at this point in time, though, it's Purvis Granger who leads in the semifinal game. He's working on a double, and he leads by 3. We'll be back with a conclusion right after this.
Since you don't buy a washing machine every day.
I should have bought a Frigidaire. I finally got a Frigidaire.
Ask for the one that lasts and lasts.
I should have bought a Frigidaire. I finally got a Frigidaire.
For the Frigidaire dealer nearest you, call 1-800-451-7007.
I'll take the Frigidaire. Now.
Frigidaire, here today, here tomorrow.
Some guys, they have it all. Some guys are just too vain. Some guys, they have a ball. Some guys get left out in the rain.
Don't wait for something good to happen.
Make it happen with the clean, masculine scent of English leather cologne.
Some guys have what others want. Some guys have it all.
English leather. Some guys have it all.
It's a showdown that decides who makes the U.S. Olympic equestrian team. The best in horse jumping battle for position at the Hampton Classic Grand Prix. Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN.
A look at a very special gentleman, our host here at Rose Bowl Lanes.
For 8 years. This is the 8th consecutive year we've been here at the Rose Bowl. David Rhodes.
Tournament gets bigger and better every year. And his lovely wife alongside. And well, maybe we'll get a shot of Wendy, his gorgeous daughter, somewhere along the way. She's dressed in red this evening. Granger for the three-bagger, trusted it, gave it a little room, and doesn't quite get the X.
Well, that keeps the match right in there. Again, this lane is tighter, and he's having trouble getting it up. The ball comes in light on the headpin. 4-5-7 is there, and the 5-pin falls out.
I think all of these guys watch the average builders tonight. All right. Oh, my goodness. A mental error by Purvis Granger, who is obviously shaken now, hustles back to the bench. Voss, I think, realizing that that's the gift of the season, perhaps.
He immediately got up from his chair, switched chairs, and flipped his rosin back up and caught it. He said, come on, please, hook an inch. Oh, no. How could I do that?
Boy, talk about despair. Well, now he's got to shake that off. He trails by 10. He's got to come back with a good shot here.
He did. 4-pin.
Purvis right now realizing that he may not be able to come back from that mistake.
Boy, it just, that is a tough thing to come back from because it just takes all the wind out of your sails. You're in the lead. Would have still been in the lead by 2 pins if he converts that spare. As it is now, he's down 10.
Well, this is his 3rd appearance in the championship round this year, and each and every time it is a learning experience. And there you see a little disgust written on his face, and it was an unforced error.
Definitely. No pressure to make the 7-pin at all.
Guarantee you right now, Voss is trying to calm down a little bit and throw a good shot here because he could really put some heat on. The later the match gets, the better Brian Voss bowls. Oh, a solid 8-pin, and Voss can't even be upset. He turns around and laughs to himself.
I mean, bowler of the year could be riding on these next few shots right here. He leaves a solid 8 there. Oh, my God.
Well, there's no question. He's going to throw Brooklyn somewhere to win, right? Don't you ever get those breaks back? And Purvis is saying, don't you ever get those spare conversions back?
Well, and definitely you don't get the spare conversions back.
So Voss, who has to shake off the solid 8-pin, is ready to bowl in the 9th frame. And Sam Maccarone, our top seed, and will be up next.
And Brian is making the most of his strikes. He had 4 in the first match. He's had 2 here, and he's still in the lead by 9 pins, and he won the first match. But he needs to set himself up here for the 10th frame.
Now he says hook it, and he's got the pointer out. Well, he's getting serious.
Look at the speed. It seems like the adrenaline starts flowing, and his fingers get longer in the 9th and 10th frame. I don't know what he said, but...
Directing a little traffic on the left-hand lane. Granger up quickly, bounces back with a nice shot of his own, swishes the rack on lane 40. Well, Voss with a possible 225. Granger, if he goes off the sheet, at 216.
And there's a tie, also a possibility here, too. Granger needs to have this first one in the 10th. This gets him in the lead by 1. Again, no matter what he does, he can't shut out Brian Voss. So we see there, 65 to 56.
Ferraro forced Voss to strike to win the last game, and he rose to the occasion.
handed it to him.
Oh, boy.
Just handed it to him. 4-6-7. Brian gets a gift.
Players may have their eyes closed, but they can hear the crowd reaction.
Well, I'm sure he snuck a peek on that one.
Purvis Granger just going to launch it left. Doesn't make any difference. Really disappointed with his performance here this evening. Here's the reaction to the shot in the 10th, and it was, oh my goodness, give me anything but a split, and it didn't happen that way. 182 is what Granger shoots, and so Brian Voss is now in a position to move on to the championship game, and he gets a couple of practice shots to get lined up on the right lane in the process.
And he's just become our leading money winner no matter what now.
And it's funny because he's had a couple of these solid hits that didn't end up in strikes, and then a couple of big breaks from his opponents. And there you see Purvis will add $7,000 more. Purvis now better than $53,000 this year, but that's not going to mean much to him right now as a consummate player because he's not going to get a chance to bowl for his first title.
Well, it's the old adage, you keep getting there enough times, though. One of these times, you sneak in through there.
Well, I think you have to feel that way about both Joe Firpo and Purvis Granger. These two young gentlemen are going to make a lot of telecasts and win titles before it's all over. But it won't be tonight. 211 to 182 for Brian Voss. And he'll advance into the championship game against Sam Maccarone. But before we get to the title match, let's check in on the bowling news.
Are you still using this kind of drill? Then why use this kind of screwdriver? Now there's Torque Driver. There's no power screwdriver like it. The patented clutch measures out extra power when you need it. It's so powerful it can drive home this 4-inch giant in 2.5 seconds. Yet you can use it on the most delicate veneer. Use it for large screws or small screws, slotted screws or Phillips screws. And it removes screws just as easily. There's more. You also get this amazing adapter that turns any socket set into a power wrench. It even removes frozen nuts in seconds. Plus, you get Total Tool that cuts glass and carpet, sharpens knives, and strips wire. It'll last for years. It's all yours for only $19.95. Order now.
Have your credit card ready and call toll-free. 1-800-554-9000. That's 1-800-554-9000. Or send $19.95 plus $4 for shipping to Torque Driver. P.O. Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut, 06062.
Welcome back to Rose Bowl Lanes in Windsor, Ontario, Canada for this week's edition of the Bowling News. And some of the most talented junior bowlers from throughout the United States participated in the second Pan American FIQ Youth Bowling Championships, which were held this past week down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Players from 10 different countries participated, but the competition basically was dominated by the United States. The USA collected 7 gold medals, highlighted by the outstanding performance of 17-year-old Joey Dobbs out of Indianapolis, who finished first in 4 different categories. Now we're going to recap the action down there and talk about some of the outstanding play. Puerto Rico, of course, finishing first and third in the boys' singles. Of course, that was a 6-game competition. Meanwhile, as far as the ladies were concerned, Stephanie Merrick won the first of her 4 gold medals. Boy, what a week it was for Stephanie. In the mixed doubles competition, the USA won the gold and the bronze. Believe it or not, Joey Dobbs averaged a blistering .243 for that competition. In the boys' doubles, the USA won with a combined average of .209 per game, so the guys were knocking them down pretty good there. Meanwhile, as far as the girls' doubles were concerned, Sandy Vegas and also Stephanie Merrick of the USA on top, Canada second, and the ladies from Colombia finishing a distant third there. In the mixed foursome competition, once again, the United States on top of the stack, Canada finishing up number 2 there, and Puerto Rico, the host country, I should say, at 47-42, and they ended up third in that competition. The boys' all events, once again, you guessed it, it was Joey Dobbs, and what a week he had, 55-79, the total overall. That's an average of .232 for 24 games, and we'll probably see him on the PBA Tour in the near future. The girls' all events, once again, the United States finishing atop the stack there. Stephanie Merrick and Joey Dobbs really having a week in Puerto Rico. It was also a busy week on the PBA regional circuit, and heading up the list of the brand new winners was Doug Kent out of Penfield, New York. Doug, who has been a consistent cashier in the Eastern region, finally broke through and he captured his first title. Meanwhile, out of the Midwest, Kevin McGurr and also Rich Orff of St. Louis finished 1-2 there. In the Northwest region, Rick Jones continued his winning ways by edging former PBA touring pro Matt Serena. while Rory Peterson of Sacramento, California finished atop the stack in Las Vegas. That victory for Rory was worth $4,000. For the second time this year, Lisa Wagner out of Palmetto, Florida, has been voted the Bowler of the Month by the Bowling Writers Association of America. What a year it's been for Lisa. She's already tied a record for the most titles in a single year with 5. And she also seems to be well on her way to becoming the first woman ever to win over $100,000 in a single season. She's already banked better than $75,000. Veteran touring pro David Ozio finished up second in the voting, while young left-hander Mike Lickstein, who captured the high rollers earlier this month, well, he finished third in the balloting. International bowling was once again in the headlines down in Miami, Florida, as players from 21 countries tested their talents in the 26th annual Lee Evans Tournament of the Americas. Some outstanding bowling down in the Sunshine State. Venezuela finished up the mixed foursomes competition in the #1 position, while the United States ended up third. Meanwhile, in the men's singles, Bill Rowe of Canada captured the gold medal. His counterpart in the ladies division, Etta Piccini of Mexico, also had an outstanding week. The Brazilian contingent had plenty to smile about after burying the competition in the men's doubles, while the women from Venezuela posted a record score of 25.08 en route to winning the doubles competition. The mixed doubles division went to the Americans, Linda Graham and also Kevin Doan. And keep in mind, Kevin also added the prestigious All Events title to his credit this year. And one closing note, in a unique competition, total pins now of all the bowlers in all the events, the United States edged Venezuela by a mere 44 pins. We're often asked out here on the PBA National Tour about the foreign players who compete regularly on the National Tour from outside of the United States. So since we're in Canada this week, we thought it might be a good idea to run down those players that are not U.S. citizens but do compete from time to time on the PBA National Tour. Here's a look at some of those players. Heading up the list is our good mate from down under, Tony Roderick of Australia. Bermuda offers right-hander Quentin Hayward. While our host country this week, Canada, has 5 PBA members, including 2-time titleist Butch Soper, who just managed to make his way north from the state of California. The only English entry is Brian Harding, while Sweden's best Mats Carlson is also a PBA champion. And, of course, heading up the list of the group from Venezuela is Amleto Monticelli. Now, you might ask why there are no Japanese members, or there's not a Japanese membership as far as the United States is concerned. Japan is the only foreign country that has its own professional organization. And now it's time to get a recap, basically, of what's happened here in the first 3 games of the $130,000 Molson Golden Bowling Challenge. Mike?
Thank you very much, Denny. We're going to look at that first match where Dave Ferraro defeated Joe Firpo 223 to 206, and I think it was just a case that Ferraro's experienced. Firpo was ahead, and then he opened, and Ferraro stepped right through that door.
And in game number 2, well, Voss had the opportunity to strike in the 10th to beat a very tough player in Dave Ferraro. He did so, 213 to 204. And then it was, I'll take it. No, maybe I'll give it away. No, why don't you go ahead and take it in the semifinal game? And Voss finally stepped up and beat Purvis Granger 211 to 182. And that brings us now to the championship game between Brian Voss and top seed Sam Maccarone. And what we have here, Mike, is experience and inexperience in the championship game.
Well, we've seen it in the first 3 games already. The experience won with Ferraro over Firpo. The experience won again with Voss over Granger. Voss definitely has the experience right here. He's bowled for the title, we were trying to figure out here, at least 13 or 14 times. Macaron has only bowled for the title. This is his 2nd time, his 1st time from the top spot. The edge has to be with Voss right now.
Now, when he won 4 weeks ago, he seemed to be hooking the ball quite a bit more. This evening in the practice, we've watched Sam Maccarone, and he's much more direct tonight. What do you think he'll do in the title game?
Well, the pair is very tight, especially the right lane that we were watching him bowl on, so I think that's dictating somewhat that he's going so direct. But I think that he's going to be going pretty straight right up around the 9th or 10th board and going those frozen ropes right at the pocket.
Brian Voss has been ever the opportunist this evening. Mike made a good point. He has utilized his strikes effectively, hasn't thrown many of them, but when he has, he's strung them together. Well, we're all settled down now to just 2 players. We'll be back with the start of the championship game here from Windsor, Ontario in just a moment or so. Brian Voss and Sam Maccarone.
It's going on now, the Olds Country Dealer Summer Explosion of Savings. A dynamite end to the model year clearance on Oldsmobiles like you've never seen before. Sticker prices on every Oldsmobile in stock are being demolished. There's a tremendous selection of Oldsmobile models, colors, and options to choose from. Bargain hunters will have a blast. during the summer explosion of savings. It's a dynamite sale.
We are Old Country Dealers.
Thanks to Lita, I got the right training, and now I have a job I want.
Lita showed me how to put my strengths and interests to work in a job that really means something to me.
You can't beat it. Lita's job training programs and career services are first rate, and they're free.
I'm well on my way to independence and a secure future for myself and my family. Thanks, Lita.
Stop by the Lita office at 128 East Grant Street, Lancaster, or call 291-1231 for information on how you can get into training for today's job.
All you need to know about great selection and low prices is here, inside the newest circular from True Value Hardware Store. Check out the Carnival of Value circular, where the Master Mechanic 23-piece standard or metric socket set is just $12.99. And the Wagner Handy Duty Power Sprayer is just $49.88. Then get True Test Weatherall Acrylic Latex House Paint starting at just $10.98 a gallon from participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Rich stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Polyshade by Minwax. Get a beautiful finish in half the time. A finish to be proud of. Polyshades by Minwax.
Panoramic view of the Rose Bowl in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Both players finishing up their practice shots before the championship game.
Interesting, between each of the games that Brian Voss has won, he has zipped over to the practice pair to throw a few shots extra. He still must not feel that he's executing quite like he wants to, and so he wants to get a few extra shots in to make sure that he's going to give it his all-out performance.
There's a good look at Mr. Voss out of Tacoma, Washington, with 6 titles already to his credit, looking for number 7 tonight. Meanwhile, Sam Maccarone spent a good many years winning his first title, but I think he enjoyed it so much he decided to lead this one and come back and maybe try it again.
He said, winning is fun, you know, I'd like to do it again. My son, though, Matthew, youngest son, who's driven up here this week, says Voss is going to win.
I know, that was his pick. Well, Sam Maccarone has opted to start the match on the left-hand lane. And there's a good look at Samuel out of Glassboro, New Jersey, having his best year ever. Boy, look at those numbers. 231.9. Wow.
And he struggled a little bit the last 8 games.
Well, when you're loose, good things happen. And the 5-pin dropping at the last possible second, and that's got to relax Sam quite a bit.
I think the butt of the 4-pin hits the 5 here. Right about the second arrow. Helped it, tried to help it up there a little bit. Comes in light, the head pin goes, hits the 4, yeah.
Boy, that's a nice way to trip the 5, isn't it?
That's how to make the 4-5 in the first ball.
Boy, Voss giving that one more room than he'd given any shot all night long. And X marked the spot. And there's a good look at one of the top high school wrestlers in Ohio, Matthew Durbin.
We're hoping he's going to be anyway.
Told me he's growing too much. What class did he wrestle in last year?
119.
Yeah, what about next year?
He says 125.
Yeah, he's kidding.
Now that figure's based if he should lose this game.
Right.
He says that's going to be 10,000 short or 9,500 short because I'm going to win.
Well, he's heading for the $200,000 barrier in '88. And with shots like that, ooh, might just get there. Boy, crisp shot on the left-hand lane, solid 4-pin.
Somebody in the audience immediately yelled, "Hold it!" And Brian is leaning that way. It's interesting how the ball's going left, we lean right or so.
Brian averaging .212 here this evening. He's only thrown 4 strikes in each of his opening 2 victories.
That's the first time, though, that he didn't double when he got one of those strikes.
Macaron will have an opportunity to double up in the second. Sam, 4th game, qualifying 3rd round this week with an El Perfecto, a little 300 game.
Then he followed up the next game with the first 10. Is he going to fall? No. Sam, only one of our contestants tonight to choose to finish on the right lane.
Maybe he knows something the rest of them don't.
Well, again, it's a little bit tighter, and he must feel that he can just go right at it, and the ball's just going to lay there and not go high.
In 6 previous trips to the Rose Bowl, Sam Maccarone has never yet even qualified in the top 24 until this season. It's amazing what happens when your mental game turns around. Brian Voss, likewise, though, has not enjoyed a great deal of success here, although he did win his first championship in this area. He captured the 1983 Detroit Open.
He beat Pete McCordick in that. They had a roll-off.
Yeah, but that was the old Pete McCordick.
Right. That was the old Pete McCordick. Of course, that was the old Brian Voss, too. Both of them got nervous at that time. Now,
sure.
They both come through into that pressure
Yeah,
situation.
both probably shoot 300. This one's rolling up, and a nice flush hit on the left-hand lane, and that is one confident bowler. Brian Voss with 21 cashes and 24 tries this year. Boy, is that a nice percentage. That's like hitting 375 in baseball.
15 top 24, 7 championship round appearances. I mean, what an outstanding year.
Trying to cap it off right now with a victory here this evening. Speed is there, but oh my, that one right through the nose. And the split pops up on lane 40.
And you can just feel the adrenaline rise in Sam Maccarone sitting over there on the bench when you see your opponent do that.
Yep, Sam licking his lips right now.
Right through the heart of the pins, and the full penalty. Fires at the 4-7 and hopes something good happens, and it didn't.
So he now trails by 14, but he hasn't exactly dashed off any big leads thus far here this evening.
No, he's been in this position every game. He's uphill fight all the way.
Oh, it's an interesting strategy, huh? Get behind early and come back in the clutch.
Lull him into that false sense of security, huh?
Trying to make up for the bad shot, and he leaves another solid 7-pin, and that one's almost too much to take.
It's just unbelievable. It's 2 solid 7s, a solid 8, and 1 or 2 solid 10s.
Is it because you're throwing the ball too good?
It's definitely hitting, but then when he hits light, it doesn't hit hard enough sometimes. He leaves the weak 10. Reminds me of somebody.
Boy, yeah, about half the field. Yeah, that's got to be a little tough to take.
Oh, hurry.
Oh, no. Well, there you go. See? A little frustration that time by Voss, and he won't get those 10 back. I guarantee you that right now. He now trails by 25, and Macaron, if he doubles, is really going to jump out to the lead. We'll be right back.
People are always saying to me, Jacko, relax. But tell me this. If yours really was the longest lasting battery you could buy, and nobody knew it, would you be calm? I think not.
I'm in league with America thanks to the ABC.
As members of the American Bowling Congress, these men receive valuable benefits. In sanctioned leagues, they know their games count, and standard rules help the fun along. Awards give them proper recognition. They get their shot at national competition, and they're helping our country's Team USA. When these members go bowling, they know being organized is more fun.
Get in league with America. Join the ABC.
Do you know how fast you were going? Did you know this license has expired?
At times like this, now you can choose this. New maximum strength Pepto-Bismol. Now there's twice the medicine, twice the Pepto.
The most talked about, friendly competition between foreign countries, the America's Cup.
I can tell you that any sailor in his right mind would not race a monohull against a catamaran.
I think the only chance we've got is if we get a handicap of about an hour and a half.
Downwind, I think we have a little bit of an edge.
It's certainly going to be different. It's going to be interesting.
When the talk stops, the excitement begins. See live coverage of the America's Cup races starting September 7th only on the ESPN.
carelessness could cost Brian Voss Bowler of the Year, as he just got frustrated and just threw this shot a little extra hard from the left side of the lane over about the middle arrow, and the ball never hooked, and he missed a 7-pin that he should make 100 out of 100 times.
He knows it. Now back to live action, though, with Sam Maccarone. If he doubles here, watch out. Ooh, not a very good shot there for Macaron. Through the heart of the head pin and almost left the baby split.
That was a wish shot. He just tried to wish it under the target and into the pocket rather than making it go there. He just never got that ball off his hand, threw it way left of target, and is fortunate to wind up with 9.
Now I think the key question in watching Sam Maccarone perform here in the title game is, will he get a little tentative because he's ahead?
He already did on that shot. He's
You think?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's what he said was his downfall last night in match play.
Right. See, that errant shot right there that he just made plays a little havoc with your confidence, Dan, because you know that your opponent gives you 2 opens like that. You're supposed to step on him and just grind your heel into the ground and crush him. And he didn't do it. Much better shot. He's throwing the ball better on the left lane. He picked the finish on the right lane.
Nothing ever comes easy out here.
Sometimes things don't add up, too.
Yeah. Well, it's easy from our perspective to question judgment, but we're not down there playing, that's for sure.
I found out how much easier this game is from up here rather than down there.
You never miss a 7-pin from up here. Well, needless to say, it's double up time for Brian Voss.
He's got to get 1 first. That's the hurry. Ooh, shred-o-matic there.
Dice him, splice him. Huh?
Wow, did he just blow that 5 into the 4-7.
I think he should turn into a cranker right now and maybe give it a little more room to the right. A little slower
Instead
speed.
of trying to throw the high hard one, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. Keeps leaving the solid 7. Visualizing what he wants to accomplish here, and he needs a double desperately. Trails by 25. But we're at the midway point.
He can make that span of Sam's a little bit shorter if he can double right here. High again. 6-10. Boy, he's just not taking advantage of any opportunity. Maccarone didn't double. Neither player is right now.
Sometimes funny things happen in that title match.
Has the spare. Well, Maccarone's in the same position now that he was back in the 4th frame. He can just put the hammer to Brian Voss. He's up by 25. If he strikes twice, he could be up by 45.
Sam posted games of 244 and 228 on these very lanes, 39 and 40, for an average of 236. He'd love to have that right now. He's got the Dutch 200 game going, and unless he doubles here, more speed. Does he trip the 4? Not quite.
Better shot. Much more aggressive shot there.
Margie, I have a feeling that you're going to have to sit there a lot more times, and you're going to have to learn how to adjust to having to watch the championship match. That's tough, isn't it? I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to get married in April. Is that what I heard?
I haven't heard, so
yeah, I think that's what I heard.
You're up on me there.
Okay. I don't imagine it'd be any easier to watch as a fiance as it would be a wife, huh?
You know, same idea in mind. You're rooting for your man.
Yeah. Still leads by 25.
And we're still looking for our first double in the championship match. Right now, though, Sam keeps shooting a Dutchman. It looks like that might be good enough.
Well, Brian Voss comes from the school of better late than never. He's been at his best. The 8th frame all the way off the sheet, but he's going to have to really rise to the occasion here this evening. Another good shot this time on the left-hand lane, and the 4-pin again.
Right now, the mindset of Macaron almost might be, to win this match by staying clean.
It'd be going through my mind right now. Of course, against Brian Voss, I don't know. I think I'd take all I could get.
Well, he's not opening the door at all, keeping the ball right in the 1-3 pocket, 4-pin, 4-pin. And Voss just has to get something going if he wants to win his 3rd title of the year.
One thing's for sure, there's no solid 7 in that rack.
It's already down, though.
Yep. Now, still can't find what he's looking for on the right-hand lane.
He's just running out of frames.
Slowly but surely. You know, it's really amazing. Sam Maccarone going 8 years on the tour part-time and full-time before he won a title. And then 4 weeks later having an opportunity to maybe win again. And, of course, Pete McCordick did the same thing.
You know, he went 15 years without winning, and then won twice in about 6 weeks there.
All the scores coming up on Sports Center. Larry Burnett and Bob Lee standing by. I wonder if the Indians won tonight.
They haven't been winning many lately.
I'm going to run out and watch, and Bobby will tell me, I'm sure.
Gave this one more room. Better shot. It's 8th frame time. That's when he wakes up. It's like he leaves a wake-up call for the 8th frame. Watch the loft in the room. Send it out wide. Lanes are definitely hooking more now than they were at the start. Scores are about the same, though. Kind of mediocre.
Take that. Macaron in the 8th. Lets it come off the fingertips, and that's by far and away his best shot on the right-hand lane.
Absolutely. Very relaxed shot all the way through on that one. Sam's up by 25, can increase to 35 if he can strike on this lane, which he struck on 3 out of 4 times, and force Brian Voss to go out the sheet to have any chance at all. Good speed. Boy, he threw 2 great shots there.
Down on both knees, and Sam Maccarone, who has tasted victory, would like to do so again.
The old frozen rope, right? Drilled it right at. Voss is not out of this set. He can put a lot of pressure on Mackerel with a few strikes here.
Gives it some room.
And hook tie, and it's all over.
That's it. Right through the nose, and so Voss realizes that title number 3 in 88 is going to have to wait until another juncture.
And Sam Maccarone owns the proud distinction of bowling for 2 titles in his career, and he has 2 championships.
Well, he's a good percentage bet right now.
Right.
Although this evening, I think after about the 5th frame, Sammy decided, let's just keep it in the fairway, not make any big mistakes, and see what happens, because Brian Voss has definitely struggled here tonight. Fortunate, I think, to win the first couple of games. He bowled great in the latter stages, right, but was never able really to get comfortable out there and throw strikes like he normally does.
And, well, no one really threw the strikes that they've been throwing all week long. It just shows that on one given day, you know, the lanes are just slightly different for one reason or another, and they can affect the scores pretty drastically. The scores are decent, although this game is not decent, 162.
Sam Maccarone, boy, a whirlwind tour for him on ESPN this summer. 2 victories in 4 weeks. Hey, what about next week? Maybe back-to-back. So Voss finishes with 162. Had 3 different opens, and that's not what you would expect of Brian Voss, but sometimes it just happens that way.
Yeah. Sam Maccarone, boy, what a comfortable way to win a championship, huh? Oh!
Fell back for the second arrow, and that was left the A-10.
Sammy with a big smile, though, as he will get a chance to chat with us when we're all done. Tell us what it's like to win 2 out of 4, huh?
Look at that smile.
Oh, it's beautiful. A lot of years labored out here without a title, and boy, look at the jubilation written all over his face. It's like, nah, I can't believe it. I won 4 weeks ago. I'm going to win again?
Is this really happening to me?
Pinch me, he said, shaking his head. It's a great, great feeling.
20,000 more in the bank.
Yep. 20,000 more. Oh, there's the 5-pin finally falls. So Sam Maccarone adds his second career PBA championship on the summer tour here. The $130,000 Molson Golden Bowling Challenge. And a nice hug from his fiancée. And we'll be back to talk with our most recent champion. That is, if we can tear him away from his fiancée right after this final timeout.
Hi. I've been looking all over for this terrific video cassette I heard about. It's called The All-New Not So Great Moments in Sports. There's scenes where Darryl Dawkins renovates NBA backboards.
That's a fantastic video. My favorite part is when Billie Jean King turns Bobby Riggs into tennis's court jester.
I hear there's a scene where a West German golfer shoots for birdie from a pretty strange place.
I love it where George Brett calmly disputes his pine tar home run. The all-new Not So Great Moments in Sports is 45 minutes of the funniest film I've ever seen.
Great, so you have it.
No store has this version.
Now what do I do?
You get it free.
Let me understand. You don't have the video, but you're going to tell me how to get it free.
Right.
Am I missing something?
You're missing out on Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated? I love SI. What does Sports Illustrated have to do with it?
You get the all-new Not So Great Moments in Sports free with your paid subscription.
Oh, I let my subscription run out.
Well, now's a perfect time to go for it again. You get 25 weeks of America's best sports coverage, including the Pro Football Preview and the beautiful swimsuit issue.
I love that.
You even get the big Summer Olympic special issue and the commemorative Olympic pin set.
And the all-new Not So Great Moments in Sports?
You get it all.
I do. How?
Just call Sports Illustrated's toll-free number.
Hold on. All that great footage, that video's really worth having.
I ought to know.
Yeah, I'll bet they raised the price of the magazine, right?
It's over 47% off the cover price. Just 3 monthly installments of $9.89 each. You can even put it on a credit card.
No kidding. I get 25 weeks of SI, including the Pro Football Preview, the Summer Olympic special issue, Olympic pin set, the swimsuit issue, and the video cassette free.
You get it all. Just call 1-800-541-8700.
I gotta get to a phone. What's that number again?
Here, 1-800-541-8700.
Hi. Have you heard of a video cassette called The All-New Not So Great Moments in Sports?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rose Bowl in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Denny Schreiner along with Mike Durbin, and we're going to take a look at some of the highlights of the earlier matches here this evening, and, of course, the key shot in game number 1 provided by Dave Ferraro.
Well, this is the first shot in the 10th frame, Dan. He needed a strike here to win the opening match. See the loft, the ball between the second and third arrows, and he's known as a very good clutch player, and this is why, because when he needs them, he stuffs them.
So 223 to 206, the opening victory as far as Ferraro was concerned. Game number 2, though, didn't treat him quite so nicely.
No, but it was another tight match going right down to the 10th frame. Ferraro struck to make Voss strike, and what we're going to see here is Brian needing this first one in the 10th frame to beat his nemesis, Dave Ferraro. Look at the loft here, too, right over that second arrow. And again, this is why these guys make all that money out there, is because they can throw strikes like that when they need them.
And a great reaction that time by Voss down on both knees, and thanking his lucky stars for the big strike there. 213 to 204, and then game number 3, well, it wasn't a big strike that was the clutch and the key shot. It was actually a missed spare by Purvis Granger.
Purvis seemed to have the match in hand, was ahead by 2 pins, left a 7-pin, and was going to stay ahead by 2 pins if he converted a relatively easy 7-pin, and just got careless.
Final score was 211 to 182, and here you see the errant shot. And the minute it left his fingertips, it was Hope City all the way. And the youngster from Lafayette, Louisiana, realized that that one went whistling wide to the right.
It just slid right by, and he never recovered.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment or so with our newest champion, Sam Maccarone, so stay tuned for those comments.
If you like soft rock music like we do, you'll love Session's new album called Secret Love.
It has 48 soft rock classics by the original artists.
Just listen. Out the animal in some people. You also get great hits by Billy Ocean, James Taylor, the Commodores, and the Moody Blues.
Nights in white satin. I've been waiting for a girl like you. It's the love we had. Precious and few are the more.
Secret Love can only be ordered through this special TV offer.
Your choice of 4 records or 3 cassette tapes for only $19.95.
Here's how to order.
Call toll-free 1-800-554-9000 or save COD fees by sending $19.95 for 4 records or 3 cassette tapes plus $3 shipping and handling to Secret Love, Box 50, Department E, Los Angeles, California.
And our newest champion, Sam Maccarone, and now with a beautiful piece of artwork, Bob Behan from Molson.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here on behalf of Molson Golden. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Kevin Shippey and the entire personnel of the PBA for their contribution to this year's event. In addition, I'd like to acknowledge David Rose and his staff in hosting another successful professional bowlers tournament. It is now my pleasure to present this creation designed by Wolfgang Eberhardt to Sam Maccarone in honor of his victory as this year's Molson Golden Bowling Tournament's champion. Congratulations, Sam.
Thank you, Bob.
First of all, I'd like to thank Molson for sponsoring this tournament, and David Rhodes and Rhodes Bowl. And I'd especially like to thank all you fans who've given me so much support this week. You've been great. All the pros really enjoy coming to Canada. It's a really nice place, eh?
And the gentleman that always invites the professionals here, David Rose, with a nice check.
Sam, I have the honor of presenting you with the winner's check, congratulating you on behalf of everybody, and welcoming you to a distinguished list of champions of this Molson tournament.
Thank you, Dave.
And thanks for joining us here this evening in Canada. We'll see you next week from Cheektowaga, New York, as Sammy waves his fiancée in, and we'll get one quick shot of her before we leave the air here this evening. Thanks a lot, everybody. Championship round finals of the $130,000 Molson Golden Bowling Challenge have been brought to you by True Value Hardware for quality, selection, and personal attention. Make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. And by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. And next week, the PBA Summer Tour heads off to Cheektowaga, New York for the championship round finals of the $140,000 PBA Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship beginning at 9:30 Eastern Time live on ESPN.